The first step is probably the most obvious one.
What's happening, fam?
Today I'm going to share with you my 5 tips to pizza success in the Traeger. You know, I've been cooking a lot on my Traeger grill lately, and man, do those things get dirty. Especially when you're smoking for the most part, cooking at low temperatures. All those drippings build up and the grill doesn't really get hot enough to cook them off. My propane grill is still my favorite for grilling up steaks and burgers, but the Traeger definitely is so user-friendly for smoking and slow cooking. It's a must-have in the backyard. Today, I'm looking to clean out my Traeger, and before I take it all apart, I like to bake it off for a good 45 minutes at 500 degrees to cook up and ash off all of those drippings from my ribs, pork butt, and super drippy marinated fish and everything else that I've been smoking in it. But I hate to waste the pellets, so whenever I clean my Traeger grill, I normally do a Traeger pizza night. The first step is probably the most obvious one, especially since I'm doing this while I'm cleaning the grill. You want to have your grill really hot for this. I'd say at least 500 degrees. If it's really cold out, maybe even bump it up to 525 if your Traeger model gets that hot. But you want your grill hot and you want to preheat it for a minimum of 30 minutes before you put your pizza in. Tip 2 for killer results in making pizzas inside your Traeger grill is going to be to pre-cook your topping. Today, I'm making a vegetable pizza, and especially with vegetables, you want to saute them up ahead of time. This is because the Traeger grill doesn't have a heat source on the top, and the lid is kind of far up off from where your pizza is going to be, which means most of the heat is going to be coming up directly from the bottom. So this tends to cook the bottom before the top. So by pre-cooking our toppings, we're going to ensure that they're cooked all the way and they have a little bit of a nice texture on them. My preferred way to cook them ahead of time is to saute them in a pan, and by sauteing I mean cook them in a pan with oil at really high heat, at least 550 degrees. Get that pan nice and heated up before you add your oil, and then put in your vegetables. Also, make sure you season it. And you know me, I'm a total mark for the blend by Kinder's, and you can pick that up at Costco. After you get done sauteing your vegetables, lay them out on a tray, so that way they can cool off before you go touching them and burning your fingers while you're putting them on your pizza. Tip 3 is gonna be not to over cheese your pizza. Much like we discussed in tip 2, there is no heat source on the top of the oven, and there's not like a stone or a low ceiling that's going to radiate heat back down on the top of your pizza. So if you put too much cheese on there, it's most likely not going to melt all the way, or it's going to get very watery. One of the best ways to make sure you're not overtopping your pizza is to weigh out your cheese. Don't do more than like 2 ounces of cheese on a 12-inch pie. A way we can make sure that our cheese flavor is still good though is use a flavorful cheese. Today I'm going to be using a pepper jack cheese and also a light dusting of Romano cheese. These are very flavorful cheeses that will give us that cheesy taste without gobbing up our pizza. Also, fresh grated cheese is going to perform a lot better than pre-shredded cheese because that pre-shredded cheese has a potato starch or some other type of powder on there to keep it from caking in the bag. But this definitely makes the melting performance of the cheese not as good as its fresh counterpart. Tip number 4 for making an awesome pizza on the Traeger is going to be to cook your pizza directly on the grill. So for this, you're going to need a pizza peel. That way you can transfer your pizza from your countertop onto the grill. Also, if you remember from my Bighorn videos, whenever you use a pizza peel, use a generous dusting of semolina flour on your pizza peel so that way you can get a nice release. Also, before you put your pizza on, give your grill surface a nice brush down with your grill brush so that way you don't have anything to snag your pie. So the 5th and the final tip to making an awesome pizza on your Traeger grill is don't make your pizza too big. What I mean by that is you don't want too much mass in your dough because the dough either won't cook all the way before the bottom's burning, or the top will get all soupy and watery because the heat's not coming up through the dough and hitting your cheese and toppings. So I recommend not using more than 300 grams to make a pizza that's between 12 and 14 inches. Pizza is in the Traeger, and if you noticed, I opened that lid up and slid the pizza in super fast and slammed it back down like the pizza was gonna hop back out. The reason I did that is because I didn't want to lose any heat, and that's one of my biggest gripes with the Traeger grill is you open the lid up, it loses a lot of heat and it takes a long time for it to recover. But it was really made for long, low cooks like smoking. Obviously, one of their advertising gimmicks is it can do everything, but that's why I still prefer my propane grill over the Traeger, is the ability to get and maintain very high heats even with the lid open. Just because we're balling on a budget doesn't mean we can't do it in style. I love these pizza boxes for serving, transporting, and stirring my pizzas. They're very cheap and you can just sit on the couch and mow down just like you ordered it. Then at the end of the night, consolidate the rest of your pieces, slide them into the oven. That way you can munch on them all night and all morning long. Another textbook Traeger pizza that rips in the books. Just so y'all know, I did cook this pizza using the Royal Oak 100% charcoal hardwood pellets. These things definitely do last a little bit longer in the Traeger, I've noticed. I got a video comparing these to regular Traeger pellets when using them in the Bighorn oven. Be sure to check that out if you are curious. Also, if you're looking to clean your grill, I do have a video on cleaning out the fire pot in the inside of the Traeger grill as well. Until next time, peace.